Hey guys, sorry about that. Having some technical difficulties. I see EM's here. I'm sorry for being late. Lisa as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Marcavius, how you doing, brother? What a mess. I don't know why it's getting trickier and trickier for me to go live. Today is not the normal day that we go live. The new day is Sundays, like we've talked about in the past. Let me know how the audio sounds, of course, how the image is coming in. But I've been trying to fix this issue with the stream. The last two streams have been lagging really bad, and I'm trying to figure out how to correct it. So I set up this stream originally for, what was it, like 10 o'clock my time, and it's now 10:36. I ran a speed test, right? You check the upload speed to see if you're going to have any issues or not. And the speed test looked good. Everything looked fine. I should have been good. But then when I started like getting the studio ready and preparing everything, it was doing the same thing it was doing last time. It was telling me I had a bad connection, which was strange. So I called the internet company, the turmoils of daily life, basically, right? I called the internet company. I'm telling them, look, what's going on here? And supposedly they fixed it, even though now I'm running the Ethernet cable straight into the computer. And I ended up getting late because I restarted everything. I tried to fix everything. So sorry, guys. How is everybody? That's the main question that's on my mind right now. How are you guys doing? Let me get a sip of water. Today's topic is a interesting one. It's more of something that I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about. The other day on Twitter, I made a post, or I tweeted, right? Would be the right way to say it. I asked how we could get more people involved in this discussion. How do we break away from the taboo, but how do we also break away from the boundaries of our own community? Because our community has boundaries. It definitely does. As somebody that spends a lot of time in the community and interacting with you guys, the community here and the community in different online groups, I noticed that we do have boundaries. Like, we have these limitations. The topic is being discussed, the topic is being talked about, but we still have limitations. And somebody else might tell you, like, let's wait for, look, you see my hairs. You can see my hairs there. Give me a second. Somebody else might tell you, let's wait for this, for disclosure, for the topic to be taken seriously. But I think we can all do kind of our part when it comes to taking away the stigma from this conversation. I can see the analytics from this channel. For those of you that have a YouTube channel, you probably know that YouTube will tell me, like, the views, and it tells you information that's kind of ridiculous, but it'll tell you like the age of our audience, an estimated age. I don't know where it pulls the information from, right? But it's the statistics inside of the tool. So I'll check it sometimes just to see. And I brought it up before in the past that the UFO audience, or our community, better said, us, we're older. We're an older group of people. I don't have anybody below the age of 30 really tuning in to this channel and honestly interacting with me online. I'm pretty sure we're all, 20 something, late 20s and above. And that got me thinking, because the youth, those young minds, the fresh minds, the ones that are too busy, too caught up living life, enjoying it, while they can, are not thinking about this topic. I don't know if we should, somebody told me that it might be a burden to try to include them in this conversation, but I feel like I understand the intellectual community is catching up, the scientific community, the military community, the government. But what about the people? I'm all for the conversation that's happening now, the steps that we're taking, but I still believe that the strength behind any change in any society is the people. Not everybody trusts the government. Not everybody watches the news. I would say there's a large majority of the young minds out there that don't watch the news, that don't trust the government, that get their information from different places than we do. So how do we break down barriers and sort of get onto the level of something common, something everyday? Now, let me use an example of, because the contradiction to this might be like, well, this is a strange topic, so it's hard to talk about because it's taboo, and the same thing we hear all the time. But I feel like if you look into spirituality, right, consciousness, believing in witchcraft, even the use of crystals and all these things, meditation, that subject is much more mainstream than the UFO topic, which I find fascinating because I can understand how it can be easily digested, but I feel like it's popularized, right? But the UFO topic is not popularized. Like, we're focusing in on it because we look into this. We talk about this. Some of us are experiencers. Some of us have seen a UFO. But how do we get the layman, the person that's not reading Jack Ballet's books, the person that's not watching UFO documentaries, the person that hasn't had a close encounter, to really get interested in this topic? I think that we can do our part by thinking about how we talk about this topic out in the open. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You kind of have to take baby steps with people. They're not ready for the level of information that we are ready for. It surprises me, like I'll hear Anjali's story. This is an example, and I don't get fazed by it at all. I'm not like following her into the desert or anything, but I don't get fazed by it. I'm not like, oh, whoa, that's wild. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard lots of stories like that. Lots of experiences people share that sound like that. I'm not saying it's a real, experience or whatever. I'm just saying that I've heard things like that before. So I'm not shocked to hear those kinds of things. Somebody new to this topic might not be open yet to taking in those kinds of things. There's even people in this community that are not open to certain aspects of the conversation. It kind of scares them. They step away from it, the woo side of it. Let me check out the live chat. Let me see how you guys are doing. Let me know what you guys think would be a good way to really make the UFO topic more mainstream, but in a way that it just becomes a part of an easy conversation. It's not something that is forced down somebody's throat. It's something that can be easily digested. I see Morcavia said, true, I'm 33. Me too. Water Lily 2017. Hey, how are you? She says, I hate all of those things that have to be dealt with each day that go wrong and invade my time and mine too. Lisa's relaxing for Christmas. She's getting ready for Christmas. Guys, do me a favor. Take the link to this video and share it on Twitter. I didn't get a chance to share it. Like I'm telling you, I did like some wild stuff to try to get this to work correctly. I think I like deleted all my history. I had to call my brother who's in another country to give me a code, an access code or something to try to get on here, because we kind of share one account, and I was like, I couldn't get to it. So I'm saying, I feel like this is important. I feel like we are at a point here in this conversation where a lot of the voices, the powerful voices in this conversation, are doing a great job, right? We see Avi Loeb, the Galileo Project. We see Chris Mallon, Lou Elizondo. We see, new pieces of work, new documentaries coming out, more news, but it's still inside of our sphere. Like, we know who these people are. We know who these voices are, but not everyone does. How do we transcend our own community? When I asked this question on Twitter, I got some good responses, open-minded responses. I want to thank everybody that responded, that sent me, their ideas there. But I felt like a lot of the responses were really focused on us, on the UFO community. And what I'm saying is, how do we turn the UFO community into just like the global community, right? The everyday common community. It's a challenge, I understand. I think what we're doing here is, in a way, helping. I mean, I'm not ranting, I'm not raving. I hope if somebody clicks on this channel and sees this conversation, sees the live chat, can see that, yes, there are very, very normal people that look into the phenomenon and believe in the phenomenon. I think there's still that, that issue that was brought on by people like Alex Jones and the crazy conspiracy theorists, ranting and raving, that kind of tarnished being able to talk about this in the right light. So when the voices like Chris Mellon, Lou Elizondo, these people come in and start changing this conversation, everyone's like, most people are happy to see that, because we don't have to deal with Alex Jones ranting and raving in the corner anymore. But I think there's still so much work for us to do, because I get it. We're going to sit back and wait for more laws to be passed or the discussion to get taken more seriously within the ranks of the government. But I'll be honest with you, 20-year-old me could care less what the discussion about anything was coming from the government. 20-year-old me could care less about what was on the news. I barely watch the news now. So platforms like this are powerful. They are tools. Us being here and talking about this is powerful. If we can move out of our, our bubbles, our safe place, and go into new territories, go into new conversations. Lisa says, it's hard for an experiencer to speak up. You get the side eye. I was thinking about this as well, because I totally get it. I think maybe, like I said, there is some information that I feel like somebody that is a layman, somebody that is not looking into this topic, or somebody that hasn't really gone down the rabbit hole, even if you're an experiencer, you should try to give them your experience in a way that they can process. I always kind of watch what I say with anything, with anybody. Everyone on this channel, or everyone in the live chat, knows that I'm not religious. But when I talk to somebody about religion, I let them say what they want to say. And I don't say anything negative to them about I say things that I think that they're going to be able to understand, or I don't want to start a argument. I want them to feel comfortable. And I want, if we are going to have a discussion about my beliefs and their beliefs, for it to be healthy, right? Not for me to convince them of why I feel the way I feel, but for me to just tell them why I feel the way I feel and let them take it or leave it. So my thing is, I really believe as a community, we should start reaching out and sort of breaking down the boundaries, breaking down the barriers. Now, I bring this up too because we are seeing new faces come into the conversation. We are seeing people that are getting interested from the news articles that they're reading, from what's going on in the mainstream media. And there are researchers that have been in this, looking into this topic for 20 years, even people that have just been interested or experiencers. We can't expect them, the new people coming into this, to know everything. And we shouldn't be offended or angry or insulted by somebody's lack of knowledge in a space where a lot of the information that we're taking in is from another researcher that pulled it from somewhere. Like, we're still in a space where anything is possible. And looking into this topic for a very long time can taint your judgment. It can mold your mind to see things a certain way because you've done so much research. It's kind of like, it's weird. It's like thinking outside of the box, but at the same time, you're kind of in a box. It's the nuts and bolts community versus the woo community. It's the skeptics versus the believers. It's the, do you believe in grays or do you believe in mantis beings? Like, it fascinates me to see ideas that are so open, people that are so open to astonishing concepts, mystifying concepts. But when they're approached with something out of left field that doesn't align with the research they read in that book, with the story that they heard that one time, with their viewpoint, they disregard it. Sooner or later, the taboo will be gone. Sooner or later, there will be people in this discussion that have little to nothing of understanding about it. And if we ever do truly find out what the phenomenon is really all about, what it's really about at the root, all of our research, the hypothesis, or the hypotheses would be the better way to say it, that we've been given to this point could be wrong. It could be backwards. We could be missing a piece of it, an important, valuable piece of the phenomenon that we're not noticing. So we have to always be ready to accept that what we believe today, we may not believe tomorrow. I've always believed that the phenomenon was real. I've always had, it's like a natural feeling, kind of. Do I believe everything in the sky is a UFO that isn't identified? No. I understand that. I'm not blinded by my beliefs. It's frustrating at times because you will dig yourself into a hole, right? There'll be moments where I'll be trying to find something, because I'm like, there has to be a piece of real evidence. So let me find it. And I'm debunking all the evidence I'm finding. I'm debunking it. And I'm not out there trying to debunk things. I'm trying to find the truth. So what I'm doing is separating, I'm throwing out the garbage so I can focus on the treasure, focus on the goal. But I really do think that we need to figure out a way to have this conversation on a grander scale, to have this conversation at a level that is easy to digest and easy to share and easy to get people to sit down and listen. And it happens to me, you know. I'll come across somebody in the community that's angry because of a hypothesis maybe that I was sharing or a belief that I was sharing. And they'll tell me, well, you don't know this and you don't know that. And what you should do is learn. And I'm like, well, teach me. Don't get angry at me. Teach me. You know, if that is the way, teach me the way. Let me check out the live chat. If not, I can go for hours. I've been thinking about this for some time now. So Marcavia said, that's awesome. My mom's side of the family has had a quite bit of UFO and spiritual activity. That's interesting, man. And you know what's also very, very fascinating and something that we should all think about is a lot of the times the icebreaker that you can use to have a conversation with people about this topic is asking them if they've had a close encounter. You know, maybe they'll bring up the news. Hey, did you see that news article that came up the other day about the UFOs? That was pretty crazy. You could be like, yeah, I did. I read it. Have you ever seen one? And I am almost positive that if they haven't seen one, they'll know somebody who's seen one. And maybe they'll know somebody who's an experiencer or a contactee or whatever. Hey, Dylan. Dylan says, that is why it's important to bring the reality to people in a positive way. It is important to bring it in a positive way. You know, there are aspects of this that are questionable, that are dark. I've talked about, you know, there's no light without darkness. It's just kind of the way of the universe. But yeah, for me, looking into the phenomenon is like a progression. It's like growing. It's like at first you might jump into it and not be able to understand how this could be hidden for so long or how this could be kept secret or how nobody's talking about this. But over time, you start focusing on different aspects of it and building your own hypothesis and thinking for yourself. In the beginning, you're just reading files, you're reading books, you're taking in all the information. But there's a certain point where you sort of hit a barrier. You know, you hit the ceiling, basically, with all the information you could get. I know there's more out there, you know, but some of these arguments that are happening over documents, government documents or videos, I'll be honest, 100% honest with you guys. I feel like even if it's fake or it's real, it doesn't change much for me at this point. But it will for somebody getting into this. So the conversations need to be had. But I'm saying everyone has a different level in this. And giving somebody a positive explanation to what this is, or, you know, giving them sort of the ABCs in the beginning is great, instead of throwing all this stuff in their face. It's really like a growing process, I think. Let me check out the live chat. That was a good comment, Dylan. Thank you. Water Lily said, I love your dog photo, Lisa. Me too. My dog is sleeping behind me. I'm sorry, my eyes are red tonight because it is kind of late. It's like 11. I didn't think I was going to go live, but I had some time and I said, why not go live, talk to you guys, continue the conversation. Rodrigo, what's up, man? He says, good evening, John. and Chatverse, greetings from Portugal. Do me a favor, guys, share this on Twitter because I did not have a chance, or Facebook, or whatever social media platform you use. If you use other social media platforms, share it there. Share it on Facebook. If you can, share it on Instagram. Share it wherever, whatever you have quickest access to. That's part of growing this conversation as well. There are some people on TikTok, for example. I'm not a big TikTok guy. I have an account because, I've got an Instagram account. I've got a Twitter account. I've got a YouTube. I'm just trying to get wherever I can share more information on this, or my creative projects. I will definitely go there as long as I know how to use it. Like TikTok, I don't really know that well how to use it. And I know there's it's an example of how our attention span is getting smaller and smaller, but it's also kind of where a lot of the young minds are at. So the channels that are on there, that are, the good channels that are on there, I think it's great. I know some of them tried to join UFO Twitter, for example, and I saw some comments, and they were saying like that people were hitting them up in their DMs and saying negative things to them. And I really think we should try to get all the help we can from whoever we can. We shouldn't just have the same conversations with the same faces. We need to reach out. If we can get people from completely different areas to sit down and talk to us, or to give us a chance and hear us out. Because I'm sure there are people that are interested in this topic that are focused on something else because they really, maybe they're an artist and they love creating art, and that's what their whole thing is about, their platform or whatever they have, their stage. And we should get them in on the conversation. I sat down with my best friend. I didn't sit down. It sounds funny, but I can't sit down with him because he lives back in LA. But I call him every so often, and it feels like we sit down because we've been friends since we were in like the first grade. He didn't know I was doing this. He didn't know I had this channel because we hadn't talked for a while. And maybe the last time we talked, he might have known, but I don't know if I really explained it well. I don't know. The point is, the last time we spoke, I was like, hey, I have this channel. I've had it for a while. I talk about UFOs and high strangeness and the paranormal sometimes. Give me a second, guys. Let me drink some water because my throat got real dry. So I'm telling my best friend, we've been friends since the first grade. I'll tell you guys a story real quick of how we met, because I feel like it's the universe. It's one of those strange coincidences that happen. I got my finger stuck. This is funny. It's a funny story. I got my finger stuck in a chair, and I was like I think it was like second grade or first grade. We always say we've been friends since first grade, but it might have been second grade. I was in class. I am a little anxious. And when I was younger, I was quiet. I was in my head a lot, So I'm in class. I'm anxious. I think I'm fiddling with the back of the chair, and it's one of those old metal chairs from school, right? The ones that are attached to like a desk. But yeah, I think it was attached to a desk. And I'm like sticking my finger in between the space in the back of the chair and the metal, right? It gets stuck. The bell rings for all of us to go out to I guess to recess. Everyone gets up, and I'm kind of quiet, right? I'm kind of shy. So I don't get up. I just sit there. I'm like freaking out too, because I'm little. So I think, oh no, like they're going to have to cut my finger off. I'm going to lose my finger. And the teacher realizes that I'm stuck because I'm not moving, and I'm already panicking. And she tells my friend to help me go to the office because they couldn't get my finger out. We had to go to the office and get it unscrewed and stuff. But I remember freaking out. I was like crying. I was like panicking. And he thought it was so funny. And I thought it was hilarious. Like when I saw him laugh, I laughed. And then I felt comfortable. And we went to the principal's office laughing because he had to help me carry the desk while my finger was stuck in it, or the chair with the desk and everything while my finger was stuck in it. We get to the principal's office. I don't know if they had to like unscrew it or what. I don't remember. But we became best friends. But it was just weird. It was like if I'd never gotten my finger stuck in that chair and we had that moment where we were cracking up, I don't know if we would have been friends like that. Maybe we would have. Who knows? He's like a brother to me. So I tell him about the channel. I tell him kind of what's going on, with everything. And he's interested in it. He's interested in the topic. I'm not sure how interested, but we're very similar. So he's open-minded, but he's always had a different way of thinking about things. Much more skeptical, I would say, but not in a bad way, in a good way. And he started throwing ideas at me while we were talking that were different. They weren't the same skeptical ideas that I was hearing inside of our community. They were fresh and new ideas. And it was interesting because there were some that I just wasn't ready for. There were new concepts, new ideas. And at that moment I realized, like, there's so many people like my friend out there that are interested in this topic, and they're just waiting to have a discussion about it. We just need to engage them in a healthy way and see where it goes. And they might change our mind. They might give us a perspective that we weren't expecting. So that was why I wanted to share that. And the story about meeting my friend, I think, is pretty funny. So you guys are learning a little bit more about me. Let's check out the live chat. Dylan says, yeah, all I can say for certain is the tall whites are related somehow to Apollo, the solar deity. That's interesting. Definitely. I'm checking out the live chat. Let's see. Dylan says, not this year, but last year around my encounters. Yes. I think if I meditated more, I would get more. So I see he's talking to Lisa. They're talking about their close encounters. And that's exactly what the live chat is for. So keep it up, guys. Keep sharing. Keep talking in there. So I wanted to use this live as sort of a brainstorming session, right? What can we do? What can we do to get more people into this topic? I don't want to wait around for disclosure. I don't want to wait around for the government to have more conversations about it. I don't want to wait for those things. And not because I'm anxious, because I feel like at this point, we totally have the room and the space to talk about this. We totally can formulate a way to brush away the past in the sense of the stigma and the way we hold ourselves when we talk about this. And we can work on that and we can change it up. You know what I mean? We can do something. Let me check out Twitter real quick and let's see some of the responses I got. So the question I had asked on Twitter was, I keep running through my mind ways to get people that aren't focused on the UFO topic to become part of our community and join the discussion. How do we normalize this to break past the boundaries of our own community? So I'm asking, how do we get past our own community? Because I feel like there are limitations within our community. And I got some great responses. Like I said, somebody said the Observers documentary should be watched by all. Has anyone in the live chat seen the Observers documentary? I'm interested to know. Definitely. Lisa has to go. She says, I have to let my pups out. Have a great night. You too, Lisa. Have a great night. Yeah, you got to take care of your pups for sure. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Twitter. See, like my tweet didn't even go through, dude. I tried to share this out on Twitter, and for some reason it didn't work. So I'm going to try now. I'm glad that let me know, guys, is it glitching up or is it working? You know, is the footage, I was going to say the footage, like if I'm filming the video, the stream looking good. Another thing is I have to start taking the past lives and figure out how to get them up onto the podcast, because normally what I would do is do the live, take the audio, turn it into a podcast. Now I'm thinking maybe on some I'll pick the one that I think is best for the podcast channel, put it up, and then let them know at the end of the podcast that if they want to check out more, they can always come to the channel and see, anything that they've missed. But you guys let me know what you think. You think that's a good idea? Give me a second, guys. I'm going to tweet this out because before we went live, I tried to tweet it. Didn't work. I don't know how other people, I probably sound super far away right now, but I don't know how other channels do this all alone, dude. One of the hardest parts of creating anything on YouTube or any sort of project is doing it alone. I know I'm not really doing it alone because you guys are watching and you guys are helping. But give me a sec. I'm typing. I don't want to type this wrong. Let's see too. Maybe we can add a GIF, funny GIF. See, I don't know what's going on. Something went wrong. You know what, guys? I think it has to do with me trying to get I can't use Twitter. So if any of you guys can tweet this out, that'd be great. Thank you. If not, whatever. The what is it called? The replay will be available here. Transportador 33. He says no glitches tonight, apparently. Apparently, yeah. So far, no glitches. I had to call the cable company or the internet company. And I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? What is going on? Why am I paying for this internet that I'm not getting? So, has anybody seen the Observers film? I have not. I did get an awesome gift from somebody, so I may be able to check it out very soon. I think it was supposed to release tomorrow. I think on streaming platforms, but you can pre-buy or you can buy it and watch it from like iTunes or something like that. I don't really use iTunes, so we'll see how I get it, but I have not seen it. And I will say one thing though. The Linda Moulton Howe, she's awesome. I don't really have a problem with her research. I feel like she's been in this for a very long time. And like I said, part of being in this for a long time is you kind of get open to all kinds of possibilities when it comes to the phenomenon. And especially depending on where your research has gone, in which direction I was about to say that wrong. In which direction you've gone is a good way to say it. But somebody should have told her, because she has this purple blazer on and a green shirt underneath. I don't know if they had like, what would they be like? I'm forgetting the name. I was going to say props people, but that's not what it is. It's like stylists, for the film. Because I know I saw some photos floating around a few months ago or maybe a year ago of when they were filming this film. And it seemed like they had a budget. So maybe they had like, clothes for them to change into. I hope that wasn't what they gave her to change into. And if she wanted to wear purple and a green shirt, whatever. But I think it is, everyone's going to think it looks like the Joker. I I think she rocks it pretty good, but you know, everyone's gonna say it looks like the Joker. So if I was like wardrobe, that's what I was looking for. Wardrobe, I would have been like, hey, let's change that bottom shirt just in case, because we don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. You look beautiful, but let's change that shirt just because somebody's gonna say that you look like the Joker. Linda, I'm sorry. You know, I don't mean to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, I think you're awesome. I see Water Lily says, not yet. She plans to see it tomorrow. She was going to tonight, but knew that she would be tired. I know how that feels, definitely. Oh, you guys, you know what I saw today that was pretty interesting was a clip from the Ellen show. I'm not a fan of Ellen, really. I don't know. She's one of those characters where like you don't know if she's a good person or a bad person. There's been some, she's too good, right? She's one of those people that are too good and you're like, something shady here. But of course, if my wife sees this, she's going to be like, you do like Ellen. Because sometimes we'll watch clips of it. Because I like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and Ellen and like all those cheesy TV shows. I don't watch them all, but I see clips of them on YouTube. So I saw a clip today from back in September where she comes out. It's called Ellen Believes in Aliens. And I shared it on Twitter today, like 3 hours ago. And she actually comes out to her audience and starts talking about the current conversation about UFOs. And her approach is actually pretty good. The way she communicates with her audience, where she's kind of kidding, but she's not, I feel like was a great example of what we're talking about here, where you can come out and talk about these things and you don't have to be super serious all the time about it. You can take it seriously. Like I take this very serious, take the topic very serious, but I feel like there are moments where you can talk to somebody who doesn't take it as seriously because maybe they don't know what you know, or they haven't looked into it, or maybe they're just not trying to get serious. And you can educate them having a laugh at the same time. So I thought that was funny. I also shared another video that you guys could check out on Twitter that was hilarious. I thought it was two aliens living on Earth and sort of them relaying their experience. And they talk about humans and how we're like not smart. And I thought it was funny. Check it out. It's pretty, it's, I don't know what the channel's called. Let me see. The video is called Leaked Pentagon Documentary Reveals Aliens Exist Comedy. The characters, the aliens are kind of exaggerated. They're blue. They kind of look like Avatar characters. But the way they talk about humans and kind of the government and everything, I think it's really funny. Definitely check it out. So yeah, tonight I really just wanted to come on and talk to you guys about that. Like, I get it. We got to wait. Everyone's making moves. Everyone's talking like they're Mr. Miyagi, and I'm cool with that, whatever. But I'm also like, I can't just sit around and wait. We need to have these conversations, you, me, and we need to include people. If there's one thing I've enjoyed in the last year was seeing new minds come into this. Maybe they don't know as much as we do, but there's that flicker. There's that flame in them, that interest that reminds me of a young me. Maybe they're not young, but it reminds me of a young me where I was so fascinated, so interested that I was hungry. I was starving for the truth, and maybe I didn't know where I was going to find it, what direction I was going to head in. And it was like an adventure. I've gone down the rabbit hole so many times at this point of my life that I feel like I still have that flame in me because I don't think it'll ever go away. But now it's just, it flickers. It's like a candle flame. But when I first got into this, or when I was younger, and it was like I had like this burning sensation in my chest that made me keep going, and it was like an adventure every time. But I've got to say that now there are moments where I'm just like, you're tired. But if somebody could pick up the conversation, like if I were to get into this, if I were to have that same emotion that I had when I was younger and get into this topic now with what's available, the internet, the conversation, these groups, these communities like this one here, I feel like it would have been an amazing moment to get into the UFO topic. So I'm asking you guys, next time you come across somebody that doesn't know as much as you, that is just getting into this, teach them. Don't belittle them. Don't berate them. Even if they have a voice and they want to talk about it, even if they want to start a channel, they want to do this. Not everybody has to be a PhD in ufology to talk about the topic. UFO Man's here, and he says collaboration is key. It definitely is. It definitely is. And, I think we needed to see a lot more of that. And we need to realize that the power really does lie in the people. All these changes and things that are happening, they're being fueled as well by our conversations. They're being fueled by these kinds of talks. Maybe not, it might not be the gasoline, that's pouring over the conversation, but it's part of that. We could become the gasoline that's pouring over the conversation, the real fuel to the fire. But we have to break out of our own communities. We have to break down the barriers. It's like looking into UFOs at times can alienate you from other people because you've alienated yourself. It can happen. Knowledge just got up. You can find yourself like surrounded by the same faces, the same groups, the same conversation, the same concepts. And you're like, I need another concept. I need more. And it's not because I need more. It's because we need more. If we want to break down the barrier, the first thing we have to do is cross over the barrier, see the other side, right? See the grass on the other side, and then not be afraid to go over to it. The UFO community is kind of like being inside of a castle at times, if that makes sense. It's like we've built these walls around ourselves, and it doesn't help because then when somebody comes into our castle, they see us like, it's hard for them to keep up with us. We're so used to this pace of like the skeptic versus the believer, debunking and all this. It's just difficult. I don't know how to say it. I imagine that it would be much easier to explain this. We have been talking for like 48 minutes about it, but I'm saying there's certain visuals that I get when I think about our community and the obstacles that you have, even within our own community, to expand the conversation, to let people into our community, to let people come in. If there's one thing I can't stand, is somebody that has their head in the clouds with anything, especially somebody that thinks that, I don't like bullies, and I especially don't like intellectual bullies. There's lots of smart people out there that don't insult people to their face, right? Don't insult people in intellectual ways with their smarts. And they do it in a way that seems harmless, but it's not. That happens a lot within our community. There's also this idea that like everyone needs to be versed, everyone needs to be at the same level, everyone needs to have the same amount of field work. I'm like, no, that's why you do that work, because they can't do that work, or they haven't gotten there yet on their journey. So show them how to do it instead of yelling at them for not doing it. And we do that all the time. We rip ourselves apart. One of the most difficult parts about getting this conversation and removing the stigma is that we carry it on our backs and we don't brush it off. We continue, and we make ourselves look bad at times. We step in, we step on our own laces and trip up. Transportador, thank you, man, for that. He says, great combo as always, mate. Keep them coming. Let me check out the live chat. Let's see who's here. Victor Bot. Hey, John. What's up, brother? How are you? You guys, Victor Bot is awesome as well. Make sure to go check him out. Victor, let them know where you do. He does like, you like stream video games, right? I've watched a few. So if you want people to go check that out, there might be some fans of games in here. Let them know down in the chat. If not, don't. I don't know. If you want to, do it. Anybody that has anything they ever want to share in the live chat, please do. If you write a book, you have a piece of art or a film or anything you want to share it in the live chat. Also, UFO Man is here, and UFO Man has a channel. I've been on their channel. Great conversation. Make sure to check the links in the description of this video. You will find a link to their channel and many other channels where you can expand your knowledge, expand your understanding, expand the conversation, get some new points, some new opinions. Don't just stay on my channel. Go hear other people's thoughts. Go hear other people's opinions. Formulate your own. You know what I mean? And thank you guys. Those of you that are hitting me with those super chats, thank you. I promise to always try to read the super chats, but always try to read everyone's conversation or everyone's comments, because I made it a point recently to like try to focus, like never not focus on everyone. We'll see if I can do that forever. Obviously, that's my goal. So Victor Bot said, yeah, I live on Twitch. Victor is a robot. There you go, guys. Go check him out. So I was asking the community, what do we do? And the responses I got, like I said earlier, they were good, but I felt like they were too centered towards our community. And I was asking, like, how do we break the barriers down that we put around ourselves? And it was almost like they were talking about the community. And I was saying, like, how do we get people from outside of our community, into this topic? And I think one of the most important things we need to do is find a way to not just think about our community. Think about everybody. Think about ways to communicate this topic with anyone. And a healthy way to do that. So, and one of the most difficult parts for me, at least, is like this idea that like we have to wait for somebody else to get this topic where it needs to be so that we can have the discussion. I'm tired of waiting. I'm still down. I'm still down to ride, if that makes sense, but I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to do my part. Everyone else can do their part, but I'm going to figure out a way to do what I do and to help this discussion. People can join me, but I'm tired of waiting, and I'm not just going to sit back and let other people do all the work. So that's what this is, really. And not talking about the news you guys have seen all on Twitter, the stuff we're seeing like getting pushed around, I feel like should be what we do here, so that we can have conversations about other things and think about other things for a minute instead of the same stuff. How many times are we going to talk about the Wilson documents? You know what I mean? How many times, or the Wilson memos? How many times? Like, I'm cool. I get it. How many more times are we going to talk about the same thing? Like there's so many more things we could be touching on, so many more topics we could be touching on that could help this conversation really. And it's not just, journalists aren't the only ones who can change this conversation and change the way people look at it. The real stigma is in the heart of the people. And remember, not everybody watches the news and not everybody trusts the government and believes the government. Just take a look around. So this is just one piece of the puzzle. And we'll see where it goes. Where this current conversation is really going to go. I would wish that it wouldn't get put into a box. It wouldn't be put behind some kind of laws or mandates. Because can you really control the phenomenon? Can you really put a cage on it? I don't think so. And I feel like we're heading in a direction where, in order to study it, we're gonna have to get up close to it if we haven't already, and we might see some crazy stuff happen in the future, if that makes sense. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to say anything out of pocket or anything like that, but I don't know. We are in strange times, my friends. Great times, but strange times. I never thought that I would have so much faith in people that worked for the government, to be honest. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. But like I've always said, I am somebody that appreciates work when it's done. If you do what you're going to say you're going to do and you do it, I'm good with that. Do I trust everybody around me? No. I don't know. I only trust very few people. And I've been surprised by people my whole life. So that applies to everything. I don't know how much more news we're going to get at this point too. It's like, it's kind of wild. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way, but it's like, what else could they say? It's crazy to me that we're seeing all these important people put out the idea that these craft are of alien origin or extraterrestrial origin, and that is not being like echoed. And it's not being echoed because it is still hard for people to believe. People can believe in UFOs. You can say UAP are real. You can say UFOs are real, but the word extraterrestrial still ruins the dinner party. So let me check out the live chat. Let's see what's going on. It's hard to bring, Victor Bot says, it's hard to bring new people in. There's 40 years of lore going on. Definitely. But we don't need to catch them up on it. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's so much history, more than 40 years. I know what you're saying though, but I feel like some people might come into our community and just run out the other side because they're like, everyone seems like they know a lot. Everyone talks to me like I should know. You know what I mean? We have to like be open to people coming into this conversation that know nothing and make it a safe place for them to sit down, ask questions, and maybe be wrong, or maybe give us an idea that we never thought we could have, or a concept that we never would have formulated on our own. Because like it or not, our take on this topic has been molded by someone else. We've all read research, work from researchers. We've all looked into this topic for a very long time. A lot of my takes on this topic have been influenced by reading, Jack Vallée's work, or Hynek's work, or John Mack's work, or seeing different documentaries, hearing experiencer stories. But if somebody comes in new, they can give us something fresh that we may not be able to think or formulate on our own, is what I'm trying to say. Victor Bot says, it's been insane seeing so many different groups of government and civilian looking into UFOs. Definitely. And what I was saying is we have all these important names talking about this and bringing it up, not in a way like, oh yeah, UFOs, unidentified flying objects. They're actually putting on the table that it could be possible that they're extraterrestrial in origin. I'm like extraterrestrial. I couldn't say it right. Extraterrestrial in origin. And that's a trip. I mean, that's a trip. The point that we're at right now is pretty wild. Like, it's pretty crazy. People are not really taking it. We're so spoiled in this community after never having any good news to finally having a bunch of good news. We're like, no, that's nothing. I have shared some stuff talking about the past and how lots of the conversation, lots of the words being used today have been used years and years ago. All I'm saying is be mindful of the past. Understand that it is very strange that this conversation is still happening the same way it was happening years ago. Is it a threat to national security? And this kind of talk. Let me see what Transportador said. He says, I actively try to get my friends to take this topic seriously, but I feel they just pay lip service, or they play lip service, I guess. Thankfully, because I live in a data-driven IT workspace, they don't view me as a madman. I understand what you're saying, though. Definitely. And I like how you said, because you work in a data-driven IT space, they don't view you as a madman. Well, because apart from this being a taboo topic, most people that you come across that look into UFOs think that they are intellectuals. Forgive me if I'm offending anyone, but I'm saying most people that you meet will come at you like they're, an intellectual because they look into UFOs. They have knowledge. They're trained and they're wise. And half the time it's like, you just read a few books, dude. You read Valet's book. You read Heine. Like me, I'm not intellectual. I'll tell you straight up. I'm an artistic person. I'm a creative person. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna formulate some scientific plan, right? I'm just a dude that is interested in this topic, adding what I can to it. But it's funny how you come across certain people that will talk to you like they're intellectually superior to you. And it's not often the case. So William Edwards Photographic said, I'm jaded. That's one of the things, man, that I'm saying is you need to realize, like I need to realize, that we're all kind of jaded. So if you ever come across somebody fresh, new to this topic, remember you're jaded. So don't cut them up. Don't jump at their neck, at their throat. Give them some space, teach them, guide them. I don't know what's so difficult about it, and you see so many people joining UFO Twitter or these UFO spaces and saying, there's not enough data here. There's not enough research. There's not enough this and that. And I'm like, well, then do the research and bring the research, share your research with us. Educate people. Don't just complain about not having answers. None of us have answers. I hate to see that, go find the answers. Share what you know. It's terrible. It's like people that do field work. They're like, no, what you should do is field work. And I'm like, well, I can't always do field work. I can do this and I can do that, but I can't do field work. And for them, it's like, oh, well, then you're not really looking into the topic. I'm like, okay, what did you get from your field work? Share that. Tell the community what you learned from your field work. Don't just blabble on, or Babylon would be the right way to say it. Nell's asking me to pet her. But Don't just come at me with this field work stuff and this I've done this and I've done that. Share it. You know, it's frustrating, dude. It's frustrating because I feel like I can walk into a space with somebody that's been looking into this topic for 20 years because I, at this point, have been looking into this topic for 20 years almost. And I can have a conversation with them. So if they come at me with field work and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, cool, whatever. But somebody else that's new to this topic comes across one of these really grumpy researchers, and you never want to touch it again with a 10-foot stick. You know what I mean? You get scared away from the conversation. You haven't even been able to get it, get your feet wet. It's terrible, man. It's horrible. And it's all about this idea that I'm telling you, like, we alienate ourselves at times in this community, and it sucks. William says, I'm just an electrician. Electricians are pretty cool, man. I got some electricians in my family. Some of the coolest people I know. Smart too, wise. I'm saying you don't have to be an intellectual to be smart. There's a lot of smart idiots out there. Straight up. I can tell you at this point in my life, there are so many brilliant idiots out there. I don't know if you guys can hear Nala growling. Chata. I'm going to try and calm her down. Chata. Listo. There are some people that are brilliant all around, and they're not brilliant idiots. But I'm saying there are people that are brilliant that you see them say some stuff, and you're like, where are you? What is wrong with you? Like, you're so smart, but you're also not at the same time. So it doesn't matter what your trade is. I talk to the guy throwing out the trash or the janitor the same way I talk to the head professor. And I wouldn't, if the janitor might have a better view on life than the professor, like a better understanding of reality than the professor. That's something that we often forget. Like, just because you're versed in a certain field or you have a certain amount of knowledge, yeah, maybe if I need to know exactly what you're looking into or what you've done, I'll go to you. But maybe if I want to, my dog is going crazy. Calm down. Maybe if I want to, I don't know, get some different viewpoint. I don't know, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Nala distracted me. Nala, you're cute and I love you, but you're karate kicking me. Relax. Victor Bot said, I'm a pretty smart idiot. Smart ass, some would say. And that's not even what I'm saying. It's not even that. I'm saying there's some smart people that are like not in, they're only smart in that one area, and then anywhere else, they're not confident. They're not smart. So just remember that. I think what we need to do, look, the whole point of this conversation is I'm sharing my thoughts. You guys share your thoughts, right? In the live chat. I don't want to sound like I'm telling us what we need to do, even though I keep saying what we need to do is, but I'm trying to say is what I want to do, what I'm going to try and do is be open to new faces coming in. And I'm going to respect also the people that have been here for 20 years, 30 years looking into this, and hopefully I can get the two. Oh, Nala's throwing everything. Hopefully I can get the two, the fresh mind and the versed mind in the field together, or, working together. We got to help these young bucks coming into this to learn. I'm still a young buck and I can learn from you. So let me know what you know, help teach me. Let's try to get people into this topic, talking about this and let's get people to join this discussion that aren't from the UFO field or from the UFO groups or from the UFO community. Let's expand our community. Let's break away from this barrier. Let's, instead of it being like a UFO convention, let's just make it like a life convention, because this is probably one of the most interesting and possibly one of the most important topics out there. I know there's a lot of important topics, but this is one, definitely, to add to the list of important topics that everyone should be talking about. Everyone should be thinking about it. It shouldn't just be up to us. So how do we do that? We create a discourse with people that aren't just into UFOs. We hold ourselves in a way that if they let us into any room, we don't end up like Alex Jones screaming in the corner. We don't need to convince people to believe in the phenomenon. The phenomenon is going to do that. We need to share our ideas, share what we believe. But remember, it's a waste of time to try to convince people. So let's just get people to join the conversation, to share their ideas. Maybe they don't believe. Maybe they believe. I don't know. Let me see what Dylan said. He said, I woke up to the watch working. It's only driven by gears, no battery. Reading a journal of fur trader in Canada from 200 years ago. He described the Cree Ojibwe sun spirit that can literally make and fix watches. Let me see what you're talking about. Dylan says, yep. So this is the first part of his. So he's talking. Dylan's sharing some awesome stories in the live chat. If you guys are listening to this as a podcast, go over to my channel. Just put the Undead Gaucho in on YouTube and go check out the live chat. There's some cool people there. If you want to interact with them, go to my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, the Undead Gaucho. They're all part of the UFO Twitter community, the UAP Twitter community. And yeah, join the conversation. Let's normalize this topic, guys. Let's not wait around for laws and bills to be passed. Let's all do our part to normalize this conversation and to get new minds in here. Not just academics, not just, politicians, not just military, people, everyday people. We need some more young faces up in this conversation. We need more females. We need different ethnicities. I want to see more channels, more conversation coming from different parts of the world too. So this was kind of a surprise live. Thank you guys for joining me. There will be another live on Sunday. There should be. I'm glad it didn't glitch up tonight. You guys are awesome. As always, you guys rock. The most important thing I want to leave you guys with tonight is the same thing I always do. Never stop searching for the truth, guys. It can get difficult, can get hard. There can be bumps in the road, down the rabbit hole. You might get lost sometimes, but never stop searching for the truth. We'll talk soon, guys.